All right, it's late. We're going to go to some phone calls and open it up to you with your feedback.
Yeah, we open up our phone lines for our patrons at postwrestlingcafe.com and video.postwrestling.com Friday night specifically for members. So if you're watching right now, thank you for being here. Please like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. And if you really like us, consider signing up for $6 a month at postwrestlingcafe.com, where you get a bunch of bonus shows and the ability to call in, including the host of Collision Course from yesterday, Bruce Lord, joining us here. Welcome, Bruce. Great job on Collision Course last night.
Thanks very much for putting the bat signal up and calling me in there. As you heard yesterday, Kate and I were kind of a little bit lukewarm on that. In part, I think because just so much of the build to this show was so good and had been done so far in advance compared to other AEW pay-per-views. And really, it was just a question of, okay, were they going to stick the landing? And I think pretty much everybody assumed that Ospreay and Takeshita would deliver, and my God, it did. And then really, it was just, okay, how is the presentation of Sting going to go? And wow, that was just wonderful. I think that they found a way to balance both all of the kind of the nostalgia spots and the legacy type stuff with all of the absolutely insane just stunts and high spots and whatnot that we've come to expect from both men in that tag team. And look, you'll sometimes hear people sort of say, oh, AEW is just a work rate company. But when you hold up something like this, the send-off for Sting, and then obviously under very different circumstances, the Brody Lee tribute episode, I think they really deserve credit for underlining these more sentimental and emotional moments in pro wrestling and giving people that sort of emotional closure and moment that they want to have. You said it, Way. It's unprecedented for somebody to have this sort of standoff that Sting got, because guys do not get to leave this industry. On that sort of note, last night, Kate and I were sort of saying, Sting could win, he could lose, doesn't really matter. Let me tell you this, as somebody who has, like I said, very little nostalgia and sentimental attachment to old Sting or anything like that, wasn't a fan when I was a little kid or anything like that, I was just pumping my fist with every single Sting kick out. It was absolutely the right decision to make. So yeah, just a wonderful, wonderful closing note there. And it's incredible to me that I'm thinking between that and the Takeshita and Ospreay match, so many other great moments, and matches on this card that I've already I'm almost at risk of forgetting something like, the Kingston and Danielson match, which was fantastic. So yeah, just a fantastic pay-per-view back to front.
I want everybody who calls in to at least answer this question. What was your match of the night?
Me being me, I'm going to go with Ospreay Takeshita, but man, it's neck and neck. It is just those two. It is those two matches for very different reasons. Those two things were both perfect for two very different reasons as to why I watch pro wrestling. And the fact that we got to have both of those things on one show, two such very different representations of what pro wrestling can be, was just really, really, really great to see, I think, tonight. So I know there's a lot of people, so I'll peace out as right here.
Thanks you so much, Bruce. Again, great job on Collision Course, and continued great work on the New Japan Pro Wrestling reviews. He is our one of our hosts here at the Post Wrestling Cafe. So thank you for that. Let's go up next to, a lot of calls tonight. A lot of people want to get their thoughts in on Sting. So we encourage everybody to try to keep their thoughts concise and be mindful of all the other callers that are trying to get through. Let's go to Corey. Hey, welcome, Corey. What do you think of Revolution?
Hey, first off, thank you for the review, guys. This was fantastic. This is the first AEW pay-per-view I've watched live in a very, very long time. Obviously, there was a good reason for it, but I just want to get my one piece of major criticism out of the way. I know you guys were a little more high on the women's match than I was. I felt the energy in the room just leave when that match happened. And you could make the argument that, the audience was gassed. They needed some time to, store that energy. But when you have three very long matches following it with sustained energy and every other match before having a lot of energy, I think it's more of a greater indictment on the booking and perception of the women's division than anything else. And, looking at that match, I just can't help think of Mercedes Moné, she's going to be coming in supposedly. I just feel like the disparity in like the way like she is perceived and the way everyone else is just going to like put a larger magnifying glass over like the problems with that division.
Yeah, I mean, this is one, like, let's be fair, though. I think we were all fairly positive on the lead up to this. I mean, this to me was not a cold match. This was one that had a month plus of story behind it. So, I mean, I can't point fingers and say this was like some poorly built up match, but I don't disagree with you. I would say of the main card itself, I would classify it as probably the weakest match of the match. And you're right, like it was like the audience did come down for the match, so you can make your different conclusions, but I'm not going to point to this one as one that I would be critical of the program that they had going into it, because I was pretty high on this one going in because of that fact.
Yeah, no, I'm specifically referring less to the strength of the program, but more so the audience's perception of the program, and maybe those are two of the same things, but I just can't help but like look at the stark difference between the way people were absorbing that match and then just the absolute roar during the Ospreay and Takeshita match. But onto the positives. I mean, you wanted the match of the show. I've got a 1A and a 1B. Obviously, it's the Sting match. Like, you know, he's the fundamental building block of why I like pro wrestling. I went in a Blockbuster and I saw this guy that looked like the Crow on the cover of WCW versus NWO. I rented the game because the other game wasn't there, and here I am calling you guys at 1:38 in the morning, years later. He is the reason why I like this. I cannot think of a more hyped and like well delivered American like pro wrestler retirement match since probably the Flair retirement match at WrestleMania. And this blew that out of the water. This, in my opinion, anyway, it was just incredible. The glass spot with Darby is maybe the gnarliest bump I have ever seen in a pro wrestling match since like the heyday of GCW, as far as just like a sheer brutal glass bump is concerned. And most of those glass bumps were in the wrestling ring. This was just on the floor. Insane. But my 1B, which I might be a dissenter from you guys, is the title match. I actually thought that it was a very intelligently crafted wrestling match. It was the tale of Samoa Joe being an interloper in his own title defense. It was a match that was simultaneously about Samoa Joe and not about Samoa Joe. It was about two guys who are locked in on each other, and Joe kind of, being the big man in the room, yet for some reason these two guys cannot stop like killing each other. I just thought that everything was just perfect character development for both Swerve and Hangman. I thought Joe looked incredible. I think this might be the best match of his entire run. I loved it. It reinvigorated my love for Hangman Page, because I had been kind of sour on him for a while, and this just revelatory as far as I'm concerned. I'm really, really high on that match, and that's not even to knock everything else on this. I'm usually very critical of these long shows. This flew by for me. Incredible show. Have a good night, guys.
Thank you so much for your thoughts, Corey. Hey, we go up next, our friends at Poison Rana, who have made the trip.
Hi.
12 hours down to Greensboro.
Are you guys holding your thumb out on the highway to head back? What's the plan now?
Not quite yet.
Those surge prices.
Got a last beer we've got to finish, so we've got to be quick.
Got to forget. We had a ton of fun. We went to Davey's crazy idea to get in a car. We rented a car with a bunch of buddies, and we drove down 12 hours to get here in the middle of the morning. And then we went to the Greensboro Coliseum, which was just absolutely lit tonight. We had a blast. We got to go and see Sting retire. Takeshita Ospreay was insane. Like, oh my God, I can't wait to rewatch it. I hope it came across that way.
Was there any Trump supporting spillover from last night?
No, wow.
No,
We
but
wish we came a
actually-
day early because the same venue had the Trump.
Well, I think
rally.
there might have been because we showed up to our hotel booking and they were like, "Yeah, we can't accommodate you today." I was like, "What do you mean? We have a reservation?" They're like, "Yeah, sorry, we can't fulfill it."
So shout out Hotwire who helped us get a new hotel.
So
which is
I
lit.
think that might have been a bit of the Trump spillover. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's been a great time. Very.
What was the live experience like in the building, especially
Incredible.
for
It was packed. Very loud, really loud. Everyone was having a good time.
We really tried to get merch and like the
Sold
lines
out
were
right away.
insane, and they were. That
was there a lot of like Sting merch that they had made specific for the
Yeah.
retirement?
all sold out.
It was all Sting.
All sold out.
And yeah, lots of people in Sting face paint. Like it was absolutely packed. Like the video packages before the show, yeah, you could tell everyone was here for Sting, and the main event was just incredible, I thought.
And shout out Sting's kids, man. We thought those, like, there was 3 Stings. You know how, like, man, I was like, wait, why is there 3 Stings?
It's been a long day and we're all really delirious. And when the first Sting came out, we were like, oh, Sting looks great. And we're
Oh my
like,
God,
oh yeah,
we
wait,
got
okay, that's
NXT
his
UK
kid.
Tony Storm and we got Surfer Sting. This is
We
very
need
good.
Sting's kid in NXT pronto right now. Send Sting's kids to, you know, Wolfpack Sting was
Surfer
pretty good
Sting
too.
Jr.
Yeah, we need him
Watch
in NXT.
out for that guy.
Yeah, it was great.
So I don't know if you guys know, but they cut off Sting's speech partway through because of the window. So for everybody who maybe didn't get to see it, and I know it's up at YouTube right now, but for people who didn't see it, what did he say towards the end?
He
Anything
said,
notable?
Greensboro, you were there from the beginning and you're here tonight. And he thanked everyone in his career. He thanked Rick. He thanked Tony Khan. Tony Khan then came out. We had the kids in the ring again. And Darby said,
whole roster came out.
the whole roster came out. Darby is like, I need to go to the hospital right now. Sorry, I got to go. So there was a puddle of blood ringside that like you could go swimming in possibly.
Yeah, Tony
like,
Khan walking to the ring.
and he
like they're calling
avoiding
him out, and then he's like, "Oh, okay."
Never
just
mind the
step
glass
around.
that went into like the first few rows as well. Hope everyone's okay.
They might
But, wow.
bottle that and sell it on
Yeah, hopefully.
the AEW shop site.
It was a sight to see. But yeah, Sting cut a very heartful promo at the end. Thanked everyone for following him through the years and said goodnight. And then everyone gave him hugs at the end. Everyone on the ramp there, and then sent the crowd home happy. So it was
How many tears did you guys witness in that?
so many. I've never seen so many grown men in face paint since the last time I went to a Kiss concert. There were so many dudes wearing face paint. A lot of
Running Mustache.
yeah, it was just a love fest for Sting. Oh, we're about to get hit
Jesus.
by a train now, guys. So we better get out of the way.
Okay, you guys go
okay.
enjoy your last beer. Safe travels home. Did
We love
Braden
you.
remember his passport wherever you are?
Oh shit!
Jesus, what's going on?
Follow us, Poison Rana. Give us a shout. We're gonna do a show tomorrow. Cheers. We love you. Goodbye.
Hey, Braden.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate it. Cheers, guys.
Thank you guys.
All right, Braden
That is
Davey
Poison
joining
Rana.
us from Greensboro, North Carolina. Thank you very much. That's a long trip home.
Yeah, poisonrana.ca. They do a show on Sunday, actually. So go to youtube.com/@poisonranapod. You can and just subscribe to them and listen to their show. They also have a road trip show for their. I don't think the show itself is 12 hours, but they do a road trip podcast for those of you who are patrons of theirs at Poison Rana. So thank you to those guys.
Okay, we're gonna continue with the calls. We're gonna blitz through these, but let's continue.
Let's go to some of these new callers here. Let's go to Matt from Montreal. Welcome, Matt.
Hey guys,
Hey, what's going on?
can you hear me?
Yes.
All right, cool. Shout out to Poison Rana to go there,
Yeah.
and I just want to say up front that I love Bruce Lord talking.
As do
Great
we.
talker.
Great review, guys. And I was just wondering, and I'm sorry if you already talked about it, but who do you think Pac is going to be? Who's going to be the next opponent for Pac?
Pac's opponent. Yeah, interesting. Okay, so it sounds like he's after Tony Khan. Maybe that'll be his first program. But what are you sensing here? Heel, right? Like if he's targeting the I would think babyface, promoter here. So who do you think, John?
I mean, you could put him in line with something to build up with Eddie Kingston. That's one option to go. I mean, yeah. I mean, you have such a deep roster at this point. I mean, you have so many different options of where you could go with him. I mean, that's only one path to have him towards. Who would you like to see him with, Matt?
I would like to see him against Jay White. I don't know if they ever went against each other. And to answer your question, my match of the night was, of course, the tag team match with Sting. I've been growing up with him. And the other point that I wanted to talk about was the presentation of Kylo. I was so happy to see him back. Man, these shorts, that shirt, and these socks, and the shoes. I don't know. What do you guys think about this? Like, I'm really, really hyped to see him back. I think he looked like, I don't know, he looked like he was injured and was ill or something.
He looked like a man who had just had his neck fused and just came back from it. I mean, I suppose this. I don't know. It depends on the story and it depends on the character, right? I mean, clearly the man has gone through something. He got emotional just simply walking out there. So I think if there's like that level of promo within him that is trying to convey, hey, I've been through a lot of shit, didn't think I'd come back. Maybe it fits, but I mean, we're not necessarily watching Kyle O'Reilly for his hairstyle, right? You know,
I know. No, it's not the hairstyle. It's just I saw that he was crying on his way back. I was like, that T-shirt and those shirts. I don't know. I just think like for me, I was so happy to see him back again. I was like, he looks like shit. But
if he came out in a suit, it would be weird. I would say.
No, not a suit, but I mean something more. I don't know.
More superstar. I know what you're saying.
Matt wants business casual O'Reilly. That's what he's looking for.
Hey guys, thank you for the coverage, and I'm looking to the WrestleMania week with you guys. John, you have to put that schedule again.
It's up.
It's up on the site. If you just go, it's right there on the tab. Hit on Mania, and
thanks for this. I always look at it. See you guys.
Thank you, Matt.
Thank you, Matt. And shout out to John Cena for keeping that up to date. Postwrestling.com/mania. All right, let's go up next to Cody from Maine. Let's go first to Jeremy Samples. Sorry about that. Hey, Jeremy, what's up?
Hey, Wade. I was at the show in Greensboro tonight, too.
Oh,
I wish that I knew that Brady and Davey were there. I would have loved to caught up with those guys. But, yeah, it was such a fun time. One thing they left out in the post show, Sting had Tony Schiavone come over and do the It's Sting call out.
Oh, that's cool.
After the show, he's like, I'm sure the fans didn't get to hear it tonight, so they wanted to hear it. One thing I thought was crazy was just the fan reaction throughout the whole show to different wrestlers. Like as soon as the Pac video hit, there was an amazing reaction from the crowd. Just different things like that surprised me. Like I thought they would have been a little bit more into the women's match. My match of the night was Sting. That's why I traveled there. Actually, I secured a way to listen to the commentary actually during the show, although it was actually on about a minute and a half delay from being there live. But I thought that JR and Tony told such a good story. I thought that last match was more of a story line match than anything, has been in any time recent. It's just such a good story and such a good way for Sting to go out. Brady and Davey mentioned the merch. They had like 3 different designs of merch that said I was there for Sting's last match. One thing I did was they had like $150 early access where you could buy it and like just go in and not have any lines, first access to the merch stand. It was awesome. I didn't have to stand in any lines around the whole arena. Got the Sting shirt I wanted, the one with Sting on it there. And it was a great time. They also gave you a turnbuckle that had the pink Sting logo on it, a poster, and like an AEW tote bag. But it was great. I thought it was worth the money, not have to deal with the lines, be able to secure the merch I wanted. So yeah, it was just a fun time, and thank you guys so much for the shows that you guys do. It's so appreciated. And I really appreciate Wade's help earlier in the week, helping me set this up so that I could call in. I try not to call in all the time because I want to only add something whenever I can actually add something, because you guys do the best work out there. So I just really appreciate you guys.
Oh, well, thanks very much, Jeremy. I'm glad it sounded like you had a really great time at the show. So we appreciate you taking the time to call in and share your thoughts.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys.
Please call in more often. And your connection sounds wonderful. Jeremy was so concerned that his connection wasn't going to sound good. He offered to buy a microphone while he was down there, and there's no need for that. Most of the time, everybody like can just call in from their phone or laptops. And thank you.
Wade was such a good help, though. I mean, I just really appreciate it, Wade.
Thank you, Jeremy. Please call in more often.
Wade helps me all the time. My technical deficiencies.
Now let's go to Cody from Maine. Welcome. Oh, I think you're muted. 1 second. So Cody is from Maine, but he also happens to be in Greensboro. So we're going to try to get him talking.
Maybe he lost his voice at Greensboro.
Yeah. Might have to reset your source or something.
Okay, we'll come back to you, Cody.
We'll come back to you.
Hang tight.
Yeah, we'll try to get you back.
Back to you.
Hey, let's go up next to Andy B. Welcome, Andy B.
Hi guys, hope you're well. So I get to this quickly. So my co-match of the night, in addition to the main event, was Danielson versus Eddie Kingston. I thought the fact that the story of the previous matches was Eddie was a better striker, Bryan the better grappler, and that was Eddie's one advantage, even though Bryan is the more complete wrestler. So the fact that this played into Bryan's strategy when he'd been cocky before gave this story a little added layer of depth, and it was respect to Eddie Kingston way before even the handshake. So you got to see Bryan dismantling Eddie's arm the way he does in his matches to set up the bell lock. You got Eddie firing up as he is the fifth pillar of heaven. And I thought, just as a pure story, I thought this match did the best thing on the night, and I was completely thrilled by it.
It was a phenomenal match. I really love that Kingston Danielson match. I mean, you had some really great options tonight of where you were going for a match. That like this is going to be a very strong contender for show of the year. I know we're only in March, the beginning of March, but man, I think this is going to be a very tough show to top when you're looking at Danielson and Kingston and Ospreay and Takeshita, the retirement. I mean,
Orange and Strong was awesome. I thought FCC and FTR, or sorry,
man, the FCC. I mean, they were
they shut it down, turn the feed off. No, BCC and FTR I thought was fantastic.
That was a great match. I mean, and you're going like 4 or 5 deep for some of these. Like this was a really, really solid show, and I'm really curious how well this show performs, because it could be on the higher end. I think you would look at this to be, I think has the potential to be at least number 3 of AEW all time.
And given at least, our sort of very high praise for the show, how much of the audience that might have just tuned in for this particular night, how many of them do they continue to stay on and watch Dynamite, or, stick around until the next pay-per-view cycle?
And guys, so I completely agree with you. One of the best shows of the year, but I just have like a couple of nitpicks that I want to get out of the way. So I wasn't a fan of the character development in the world title match. So the theme of this story has been obsession, but like this idea of obsession overcoming these guys' desires to win the title feels a little bit caricaturish to me. And to a little bit where it kind of got muddied, like where does Hangman actually have to win? Was he actually in trouble because the Samoa Joe putting him in the thing, in the clutch? That bit didn't come across very well to me. And there's also that element of the fact that while the story is about obsession, something driving the character arcs forward seems to be the audience reception. And this is especially the case with Swerve, where like he got over because he's this maniacal guy. And now he's like turning down, this help from Prince Nana because of the audience reaction, ostensibly. So for me, these character arcs feel a little bit clumsy. But yeah, apart from that, great show.
I don't completely disagree with you, Andy. Like, it's a very tricky situation, and I don't know if this was the intent. Certainly, when Swerve was invading Hangman's home, to threaten his baby, I don't think the intent was to long term turn him babyface and Paige heel. They are completely just kind of pivoting based on what the crowd wants. And to that end, maybe again, I give them a bit of leeway to see how well they can pivot in as organic of a fashion as possible. I don't disagree that like it's such a tricky scenario for them to navigate. They have to tell that story. They have to do the double turn. They have to still make Joe relevant as well. But given all of that, I think they maybe did as best as they could. But that like Corey thought it was the match of the night, or at least, he did say it was the match of the night. So for at least several people, I respect Corey's opinion very much. It was a very effective story told. But thank you as always, Andy, for your thoughts. Let's try one more time here. Cody from Maine, are you there? Still don't hear you. Sorry, buddy. Yeah, it looks like your AirPods or something might be like improperly connected.
One more attempt.
Oh, there we go.
We got you.
All right. Well, we'll ditch the AirPods then. I'll keep it brief. I only caught your thoughts on the main event. And Braden.
You're in Greensboro, by the way.
Yeah, well, a bunch of other people, kind of took a lot of similar thoughts. But for me,
hold on a second. How long did you fly or did you drive? Because you're from Maine.
Yes, I flew down. Okay. So, yeah, I was in Greensboro for the past 48 hours or so, and I got a flight to catch in a few hours. So that'll be fun. But overall, that was just a crazy atmosphere and environment. I thought it really lived up to the hype and the expectations that you would hope that atmosphere would be. Up until the final 3 matches, I thought it was a good show. There were some ebbs and flows with the crowd, unfortunately being a little bit down towards the women's match. And even in the triple threat match at the start, I don't know if that's how it came across on pay-per-view, but it felt like it took a little bit for people to get into it. But then you hit those final 3 matches, and I couldn't have asked for a better show for what I ended up paying for. It's funny because for the past few weeks, John's joked at Don Callis calling Ospreay Takeshita the match of the decade. Might have an argument now compared to what it looked like it could have been. I think it hit a different level than most were expecting it to. I was very surprised by Hangman getting the second, biggest booze, for lack of a better term, of that entire card up until the Young Bucks. For me, I thought it'd be a little bit more mixed, but people are full steam ahead with the idea of booing Hangman and being 100% behind Swerve. So that double turn has absolutely taken full effect. And then there's not really much I can say about the main event. I don't think you could really ask for a better send-off. WrestleMania 24 was mentioned. Maybe Ric Flair had that perfect send-off that he ended up squandering, but I don't expect Sting to squander this. I think it was everything that a longtime fan of his could have asked for. And, despite the fact that walk 2 miles back to the Airbnb to not get price gouged on Uber costs, I don't know if that's what Braden and Davey are going to do. I couldn't have asked for a better time tonight.
Thank you so much, Cody, for taking
Thanks
the
a lot
time.
for calling in, Cody.
Absolutely. You guys have a good night.
Thank you, Cody. All right, let's go up next to Brian. Welcome, Brian.
Hey, guys. Thanks for the review. I'll try and micro machines this. Thought this was a fantastic show. My match of the night, I'm neck and neck between Ospreay and Takeshita and Kingston and Danielson. Ospreay, there's a good acknowledgement that Will Ospreay, he goes here now. And I thought the world title match was very good. Sets the table for Joe versus Swerve one-on-one, but based on the finish, I think. And FTR versus Moxley and Claudio, very good. So happy to see Kyle O'Reilly back because I think the world of Kyle as a wrestler. And here he is looking like Flock era Billy Kidman. And the main event,
maybe he's going to reunite with Scotty Riggs.
There you go. Perfect. Yeah, and main event I thought was a massive spectacle, a lot of enjoyable moments, especially the entrance in the video. Darby Allin should probably take a page from the other Sting and send an SOS to the world and hope that someone gets his message in a bottle. Unless that bottle is glass, then I'll be more concerned. So that's all I got. It's late.
Oh my God.
Thanks
Brian,
again, guys.
A brilliant call, as always.
Thank you, Brian.
Giving credit to all versions of Sting at this late hour.
Very good. Let's go next to Hansi. Hansi, welcome.
What's going on, man? My match of the show was Ospreay Takeshita. I thought that was the work rate match that I had a prediction in my head that I'll probably steal the show for most people. I mean, I liked the main event. I thought the main event was awesome. I shed a tear. The theater stuff, I cried, whatever. It just when I first got into WCW, Sting was like one of like the main guys. Him and Vader were feuding, so like I always kind of compare him and Bret Hart like as being the faces of WCW during times when wrestling wasn't as popular. But I had a huge I always liked Sting's character. Like I explained on Collision, I always liked the Sting and Luger story. in WCW because it was unique, because I never saw like a good guy with a heel before and trying to, convince the heel to like, be a good guy. You know what I mean? It's like, it's always unique to me. So, and then the Crow Sting stuff, TNA, it's on and off with me, but I enjoyed it. I had a good time with the main event. The women's the two matches that I didn't really care for were the scramble match and the women's match, and that's shocking because I like the build for the women's match a lot. Like I really thought it was going to get like 15-20 minutes at least, whatever, right? But I mean, it is what it is. But I enjoyed most of the card. I thought Claudio's tribute to Scott Steiner doing the power slam off of the Doomsday device was probably one of the most insane spots. But yeah, I can't complain about the card. I thought most of the matches delivered. But I just want to say thank you, Sting, man, with the call. It was a great career, man, and I think I got to see him once perform in Hamilton this past like last year or so when they came to Dynamite. So
you saw the big dive, right?
Yeah, and then afterwards, when everyone's like, thank you, Sting, he's like, no, thank you. And then everyone will say something complimentary towards him. He's like, well, I'm gonna put it back to you again. Like he's just so polite, man. He's one of the coolest dudes ever. So I'm glad that I got to see his career. Like, I'm glad that he, wasn't one of these tragic stories. You know what I mean? He's always been cool in my book. So I mean, all the best to him, and thank you for the review. And I know you guys want to get out of here. So
no, thank you, Hansi.
Thank you.
Take it easy, guys. Peace out.
Thank you, Hansi. All right, last call. Let's go to Muggin. Hey, Muggin.
Last but not least.
So we are. Hopefully this time.
Whoa! Are you next door? Look at this.
Nah. Hopefully my sound won't cut out unlike on Friday. Anyway, Ospreay Takeshita was a hood classic.
A hood classic.
Yeah.
What does that mean? What does that mean?
Yeah, it's my match of the night.
Gotcha.
And it was a great showcase for Ospreay to the American audience, and it feels to me like he could be like he has Face of the Company potential, Ospreay, but at the same time too, Takeshita should not be forgotten about. I mean, he like in a lot of ways that match felt like a mirror match because they match up so well. As far as skills go, and they match up very well. And I was expecting some kind of like split from Don Callis, and I love that he stayed out of it. There's no funny business, and I'm looking forward to Ospreay and Kyle Fletcher on Wednesday. That should be fun. Aussie Open Civil War. The tag title match definitely deserved that main event billing. Sting like most of the time when somebody retires, they usually put somebody over on the way out. This is an exception to the rule, and I'm glad Sting got to go out on a high note. And the Young Bucks were great foils for to get that heat and to they were great foils for that match just to see them lose. And I gotta say, pardon my tongue for saying this, Darby Allin is a sick motherfucker for having to jump through 2 panes of glass. Like, I mean, that looked gross. Seeing him bleed all over. And
it was gross, yeah.
It was awful. Like, man, how old is this guy? 30 years old?
I don't even know. I think at any age it's pretty insane.
Like, listen, if he keeps this going at this rate, man, he'll be over the hill in 5 years.
When are we getting the Darby Allin retirement match?
Well, I mean, at the rate that it's going, it could be a lot sooner than we think if he keeps this up. I mean, I hope the powers that be rein him in for his own good. And lastly, Kingston and Danielson was fantastic as well.
Maybe Darby Allin's retirement run is like chain wrestling. He comes in and just like, oh my god, it's an octopus stretch. Or like,
I love that. I love the use of Sting's sons. Dressing up as like both eras of Sting, like Surfer Sting, Wolfpack Sting, and of course Base Sting with the crow paint. Now that was a very cool use of the sons. And I'm also glad they avoided the usual trope of Ric Flair turning on him one more time. I'm also very glad Kyle O'Reilly came back, and I'm glad they didn't do the expected thing about him joining, Adam Cole and company, because I feel like there's a lot of juice in Kyle O'Reilly on his own, because he's been gone for a year with neck fusion. So I mean, I think he's got like a very heartfelt promo in him, and when he does make his return probably on Wednesday. So I do see a program with O'Reilly against Undisputed Kingdom, and knock on wood, if Cole gets better, you can put those two together because they never phone it in when you put Adam and Kyle together.
Thank you, Muggan. Appreciate the call as always.
Have a good night.